In a quiet township on the outskirts of Eldenvale, a small town in southeastern Africa, lives Mrs. Miriam Chisango, a woman known among her community for her unwavering determination and deep devotion to her only son. Her story is a deeply personal one, marked by sacrifice, disappointment, and a spiritual struggle rooted in love, tradition, and unmet expectations. Miriam became a single mother after the tragic death of her husband in a car accident when their son, Kuda, was just 5 years old. From that moment on, her life revolved around ensuring Kuda's success. Raised in the rural areas herself, she refused to let her son fall into the same cycle. Despite offers from her own mother to raise Kuda in the village, Miriam stood firm. She believed the city held the key to his future, particularly through its superior education system. Kuda attended private institutions from preschool through high school. Miriam, often exhausted, worked tirelessly 7 days a week, taking solace only in brief Sunday church services. All her prayers were for Kuda's success. When he was accepted into a medical program in South Africa, Miriam faced the challenge of funding his tuition and living expenses. With no personal means to support him, she turned to a respected elder at her church, Mr. Jor Makuva, a well-connected businessman. Mr. Makuva offered to fund Kuda's education under an implicit agreement that Kuda would eventually marry his daughter, Anisu, an unmarried woman slightly older than Kuda. Though nothing was stated directly, the expectation was clear to everyone involved. Miriam accepted the arrangement, viewing it as divine intervention. She believed this alliance would secure not only Kuda's professional success, but also the financial stability of her future grandchildren. Kuda thrived academically and began clinical attachments in Zolwana, South Africa. There, he met and fell in love with a local woman named Zanil. In time, he informed his mother that Zanil was pregnant and that he intended to marry her. Miriam was devastated. She pleaded with her son to reconsider, to return home, and honor the promise that had been made. But Kuda refused and went on to secretly marry Zanil. To Miriam, this was more than defiance. It was a shattering of a carefully laid legacy, the rejection of a mother's dreams built over decades of hardship. In her grief and betrayal, she turned to traditional spiritual practices. Under the guidance of a local spiritualist, she conducted rituals intended to prevent Zanil from conceiving. These rituals included ancestral invocations, symbolic blood offerings, and a repeated spiritual chant. May the birds of the night devour her womb. In her eyes, these actions were not malicious but protective, a way to reclaim a future that had slipped from her grasp. Miriam believed that Zanil, a woman who had not shared in their family struggle, was undeserving of the blessings that were meant for Anisu and for the lineage she had envisioned. Those close to her described Miriam as a woman torn between modern aspirations and a deep pull of cultural and ancestral traditions. She had dedicated her entire life to a singular goal, lifting her family out of poverty through her son's success. In Zanil, she saw not love, but disruption, a thief of legacy. Today, Kuda continues his medical practice in South Africa, now building a life with his wife Zanil. But for Miriam, the emotional wounds remain open. She spends her evenings beside a clay pot where she once performed rituals, whispering fervent prayers. Some view her as a mother consumed by pain, others as a tragic figure shaped by sacrifice and disillusionment. Whichever the interpretation, the story of Miriam Chisango is a poignant reflection on maternal love, cultural expectation, and the sorrow of unrealized dreams.